Welcome to Custom Homebuilders Solutions, also known as CHS, a job costing, full accounting, and profit management software designed specifically for the professional home builder. In this video, we are continuing to go through some of the setup steps for setting up CHS when you first receive it. Under Setup and Help, you'll see that there's some CHS setup steps that you're stepping through. We've gone through user permission, setting up company master, setting up cost types before you set up your cost centers, and we have some videos on that. In this particular video, we're going to talk about setting up something called job stages, and I'm going to go ahead and click this to see the help stuff about it. These are not about setting up your cost centers like roofing, framing, plumbing. These are broad categories. Job stages sometimes are referred to as phases by some builders. They're used in various ways to track the construction status of a job. Using stages, you can prepare weekly job status reports that show what stage each job is in, each active, and then see it spread by weeks. You can forecast draw request dollars, and I'll be talking about that. You can prepare a % complete draw request through a selected stage. You create job schedules based on the stages. If they'll start out like that, they'll set up various project lines for each stage that you will then put tasks under. You can issue purchase orders by stage, so you can select to open up purchase orders through a certain stage, to either issue them or to approve work done on POs through a certain stage, and more. In our next video, we'll actually go through more of the places where stages are used. This video will be about setting up your stages, and then we will talk about the weekly job status report in this video. You'll see that that video will be right here. Generally, you should set up your stages based on points in time, basically that you usually request draws during the construction progress. It's just a good way to think of it. Job stages should be set up before setting up cost codes for cost centers, because each cost code, like framing, roofing, plumbing, will be assigned a job stage. Like if you set up 3 cost codes under plumbing, like rough, top out, and final, those 3 different cost codes will probably be in different stages of the job. So maybe that helps you sort of think about it that way. In order to demonstrate, I'm actually going to go back to the main menu here for a second, and let's collapse all that. And you'll see over here under Job Status Schedule Logs that there's something called Job Weekly Progress Status. I'm actually, though, going to open that very same thing from the Jobs Dashboard, which back on the main menu, I clicked Active Jobs Dashboard and opened this, and I selected a job. And I'm just doing it from here just to show you that when you're working on the Jobs Dashboard, you can get to some things like schedules and job stages and weekly status. And we can actually edit and set up stages from that window. There's other places, like on the cost codes window for stages, etc., that you'll see where you can edit stages and set up stages. But let's just do it from here. Let's click this Job Stages and Weekly Status Report from this window. This is where it opens a worksheet that is showing you all your jobs and what stage they're in. We have a lot of like old weird jobs in here because of demos, etc., throughout time. In this demo thing, this isn't a Real Builders set of books, but we're going to use a couple of the jobs in here. But the very first thing before you can do anything about assigning the latest stage to a job is that you need to set up your stage categories. And so to set them up, you can use this View, Edit Stage Categories. And again, if you do Help, you can see that there's one of the help things that's about job stages and weekly status, and that same help document is there that I opened just a minute ago. But you'll see that this builder has set up some stages, but not all. I give you 48 stages, 0 through 47, but I highly encourage you to keep these a lot shorter than that. In broad categories of the stages. And like I said, maybe think about when you would take draw requests and then set up a stage for those. Usually builders do have a pre-construction, they've sold it, but there's things they're getting done and set up and arranged and permits, I guess, and things like that. And this is one builder's example of his stages. And you can see that here, and that he doesn't use all the rest of these. One reason, when you set them up and when I tell you to edit them in a minute, you should leave any stage you're not going to be using blank. Don't put something like the words don't use in it, because CHS will be looking for ones that are not blank to include in drop-down lists where you're selecting stages to attach to various things in various places. So you can't add a new stage, you're limited to the 0 to 47, but what you can do is start editing them. You click the pencil edit icon. This field you can't fill in, it just shows you this is the stage, but what you do, it shows the old stage title, and then you type in the new stage title right here. Let's do this one. I'll just take the word finishes and finish maybe. Then I click the submit button, closes, and you can see that that's changed. I actually really want it to be finishes, so I'll do that real quick again to show you how the new title is that. And throughout CHS you will have an audit going on for various changes that are made, and if I click this audit it will just show changes to stage categories. And you'll notice that today, actually, yes, I'm doing this on Christmas, waiting for people to wake up. That it shows that I did this and I edited it and what it was before and what it was after, what it was before and what it was after. So there's that. Just shows who's been editing those and changing those. Speaking of changing them, you should be very aware that this is a master of your stages, and if you change this title, it's going to change everywhere that you have used it and referred to it. So you should get these set up how you like and not be making many changes to them later, so that you stay uniform throughout every place in CHS that uses these stages. So that's about how simple it is to do this. Some builders maybe do 16 that relate to that CSI type thing. I'll close this, and I want to point out that there's a button here for one builder's explanation of doing weekly status reports and setting a job status to the stage that is completed each week. Not a stage that's in progress, but completed, and why and how he uses that. So that would be interesting for you to look at. This builder does use the weekly status reports, and so has given me an explanation about that. So notice that it says stage entered should be the last stage that is completed as of the Monday date. What this is the list of jobs we have and the latest stage. If you want to know which jobs are most recently active, so you can only edit the latest stage for those, you could click on the Monday date once to sort it ascending, which means we get a bunch of blanks if we haven't been doing job stages, and a second time for descending, which will show you the recent ones that we've been working on, so you could run down those quicker to edit and give it the latest stage that it's in. So I'm also going to show you that you could click one of these letters and just see job codes that start with certain letters or numbers for your various job codes. Please watch videos about setting up jobs, but I'm going to open a field search to show you that there is a search here, because I'll just make it so that we see only the two jobs that we're interested in. So I clicked on that job, scroll down, and I'm going to hold down my control key and click on another job, which means I'll just see those two jobs. You don't have to do the jobs. You can do any one of these things, like maybe you only want to see ones that are in a sold status and not closed ones, or only ones for certain job managers or builders that you've assigned to jobs. And you can also do various job types when you set up jobs. So you could search by those, but let's just search for those two jobs that I clicked on. So here's our two jobs. Like I said, today's Christmas, but I might have wanted to, I could see that last week on Monday, the date was 12/17/18. And we only use Monday dates. We had to select one particular day of the week because you'll see that in a minute when we do these spread reports that show what stage is completed on every single Monday for the last 12 weeks. But let's say I want to update the latest stage for this job, Smith John. So I click the pencil edit icon, and actually, if you click anywhere on the line, this window will open for this job. Now you'll notice all the past Monday dates going on here. As you scroll through, you can see the progress, how I've been changing stages. And we've had the cabinets, interior trim and finishes completed for 4 weeks while we're probably working on, let's add a new Monday stage record. Let's do this next Monday. You can see how we can see the Monday dates in our little drop down calendar is December 24th. And we can look behind here a little bit. But we had not completed stage 8, which is interior paint complete, until sometime maybe towards the end of last week or whatever. But this builder really recommends that you do these only for things that are complete, not what's in progress, because if you do a Monday meeting where you're discussing what to draw, etc., that person that's going to be doing maybe draw requests in CHS needs to see what's complete and what they're able to draw for. But let's say we now have completed that interior paint complete, and it shows right here. I can submit that, and after I submit it, you'll see that that date is there. If you decide you need to edit any of these, you can use the pencil edit icon and change the stage or change the date as you like and submit that update, and when you close, it'll refresh and show your change. You can also delete these if maybe for some reason you don't want them there or something, and then add a new one in, etc. The other thing I'd like to show is that down here there's an area called Other Status Dates. You can choose whatever, you can just type in some new thing here or look at a drop down to see what other titles you've used for this particular first date here. But these would be important dates to you, just marker dates. When we were first told about how to do this by a certain builder, he had Piers Pour as his first one, and that's why you'll see that in there. But you can just type in a brand new one, you know, like XXX or something. But I'm going to not do that. I'm going to reset it. But when you do it and then submit whatever it is, it'll save these 3 titles you use. The completed one you can't change because that's used in a specific place to measure the number of days from start date, which is over here, and you can only change these when you're on the job setup window. That's it's doing some reaction to some of these dates over there, so these can't be changed here. But you could change these titles, put in your date. You don't have to have a date in to submit it, but you know, you're probably doing that as you progress. But maybe choose 3 titles, and I'll show you where those show up. But if we go ahead and close this, you'll see that now Smith John has been updated, and let's quickly update this one to the 24th also. So we'll add a new one on the other job. I'll do the 24th for the Monday, and we're going to say this one is, that drywall is complete, but the next stage hasn't been completed yet, so we're going to leave it in a drywall complete stage and submit that for this particular Monday. So hopefully you get the idea of that. Now what you can do is on this screen, this is a little menu that's a expanding menu. You can get yourself a report real quickly of your dates for that job, all the various records you put in and the dates for that job. But before you do these all status reports, you probably want to get a stage categories report. You can send these to PDF. That's the best thing to do for it, so that you have a reference for what the stage numbers mean, the stages that we set up a minute ago. Because you'll see that when we do all jobs status reports, we're first going to do one for the past 12 weeks, and that's as far back as it goes. So it's only jobs that are in progress, and they're only ones The only ones included are ones that do have stage updates in the past 12 weeks. So we only have 2 here because that's the only 2 we've made some stage updates. Since we are doing this on Tuesday, it will show a column for next Monday's date, because you might want to come in sometime through the week and update that next Monday's already. Who knows? But you can see your various numbers here going on. It's a shorter report, but it is landscape, so you should change your printer to landscape after you export it to PDF, etc. And you can see that it's showing the week dates across the top here and your progress. So you can tell this one that has stayed in stage 7 being completed, and stage 8 was probably being done during these weeks. If that makes some sense to you as a builder, I think that will make sense. The other weekly status report has those additional dates that we were talking about on it, so it's a much longer legal size landscape report, so you'd have to have legal paper if you were going to print it. It includes the lot and block for the job that the other report doesn't have, and it also includes those additional dates over here. And it'll put in here whatever titles you put for that job for these additional dates. This drywall, foundation, pre-construction, those are the ones that I changed to those dates. So if that makes sense to you, it's a very long spread out report because we need all those week things. And then you can collapse that menu when you're done with those. But perhaps by pausing the video and studying on those weekly reports, weekly status reports, you can understand what we're doing here and how important those might be for a meeting. In the very next video, what I'm going to do is talk about some of the places those stages are used, but I have the cost codes set up when you're doing your various cost centers. And notice how these cost codes here, and this is not about setting up cost codes, this video. Please watch the other videos and then we'll talk more about doing this and assigning stages. But we have these grouped by, like these are grouped by plumbing. You have groups, but you can also group these by stages. But when you're editing these, you will assign a stage. Notice how this is in stage, this cost code is done. This work is done in the stage called foundation. You hover over it, you can see, and then this cost code is done in a later stage, and of course final plumbing is done in a later stage. And there's a fast way to run through all those cost codes and just drop down and then click tab and keep going down here and selecting what stages these cost codes are in. You can see all that where you're selecting state, and it's grouping these by stage, not by the plumbing and framing and all those types of headings you have for cost codes. Also, I opened the job budget from the jobs dashboard. Since I selected this job, there's a job budgets that you'll do your estimates, and you'll have a budget set up for the job. And I just wanted to real quickly show you another little valuable quick budget report that groups all these budget totals that we have for the budget or estimate for our job by those stages, which is a real handy report. I call it a forecasting report. You get a lot of other budget reports with all those cost codes and everything, but this one's just done by stages and a summary by stages without the detail of the cost codes behind it. And you can see if it's a fixed or a cost plus markup. You can see that if it's cost plus markup, these are probably about the amounts you might be drawing, and probably for fixed. If you're cost plus builder fee, these are amounts you'd be drawing plus a part of the builder fee. So that's a really handy report for stages.